but I think they were majority African American.
So you and Jim Hayes start this new organization in the Treme.
That's correct.
Yeah. So, well, what was it called? Was that early 1970s,
well,
maybe?
That was with the 70s.
Yeah.
It was first. It was called a Sixth Ward Improvement Association, which you got the Sixth Ward, the Seventh Ward, and all the, but this was the Sixth Ward, and Treme, and we began to work fighting slum landlords, because we worked with private housing as well as public housing, residents, and but people in private housing had no protection at all. The landlords, because they still had signs saying for white only when I was coming up to get housing. And slum landlords was doing two things. They was not fixing private housing. These slum landlords would not fix up the housing. So what they did, they made money two ways: by not making repairs and by using it as a tax write-off. So they made double amount of money. So we fought that for years, and we got to be, at some point I got to be a paralegal, but then I worked with lawyers who's legal, called New Orleans Legal Services. And I began to work with these lawyers and help them to understand community before they got into real practice. And so I got the lawyers that work with the Sixth Ward. Eventually we changed the name from a Sixth Ward to Treme. Because once Sixth Ward is on as a local area, the Treme broadened the area. So that means, because we were getting calls all over the city really, but a lot, so we said we've got to change the name. So we began to work with these lawyers because they want to get experience, so they'd come work with groups like us and to get exposed to the community. Then we asked them to do some research, how we could fight these slum landlords, because they was killing our community by just doing whatever they want. So we got some research and we found a law in a law book called Article 2694, which means a tenant has a right to withhold rent to make repairs. So we found that law, we used it, and we began to keep these slum landlords' money in escrow, but to keep up with it. And when we got enough, we could start using the money to make repairs, necessary repairs like water, other things like that. Well, these slum landlords got nervous because now they wasn't getting any money. So then they came in the community to meet with us. Before they didn't worry about it. But once we had that money, we used it as an organizing tool. So they come into and they was kind of begging for their money. And, for a slum landlord to come to our office, one room in the neighborhood, it was powerful. Then we realized we had some leverage, and so a couple of houses we began to make repairs and we gave them what was left out of it. We didn't, we just did enough of it to the word had gotten around about this Article 2694. And so we had leverage, but then when we go to court, you had all white judges. So it made it more difficult because the white judges was getting money from the slum landlords when they ran for office. Sure. So even if we got to court, we could never win because the racist judges, and we got to learn all this as we were going along through practical experience. It was, it got clear about the racism, but we didn't really understand racism. We understand it as being victims of it. We understand the bigot and hate, but we did not have a systemic analysis. Even though that's what we were dealing with, was systemic, we had a needs analysis, or we had a victim analysis, or a do-good analysis. We got to help them poor folks analysis. But we didn't have a success. That didn't come to later on in the future. We started another group.